Welcome to the Super Profit Friends. 15 minutes long because you're an entrepreneur and you've got a business to run.
Voices there. Alright, so welcome to episode 1 of SPF 15, Super Profit Friends. The name of today's episode is Future Entrepreneurs, I Quit. So basically the topic that we're going to be talking about is, obviously you guys that are listening, you guys are interested in starting your own business. So we're going to get down into the nitty gritty of how you can do that in the best way possible. My name is Joshua. I am the owner of AMP Academy, which is a Ninja Warrior parkour and martial arts school based in Fall River, Massachusetts. And then here we have the lovely Kaylin Pacheco, the handsome devil, Chris Lang, and Zach Keith, whose last name is not actually Keith. It's the only way I refer to you. I don't know. Zach Keith. And then, of course, my brother, Walter Amorello. So, all that said, let's get started. What helped you guys make the decision to start your own business? What took you to that point?
So do we have somebody who wants to start with that? Or is that directed to you guys or me?
We're looking at a general question
that
right now. Everyone's getting a chance to answer, so take it, bro.
I hated working for other people, so I had to work for myself. I became unemployable. So there's that. You guys?
I feel like we're all in that kind of description, right? I don't know.
I was exhausted. I was just working crazy hours. I didn't like where I was working, like the jobs that I was doing. Didn't like them, so I wanted to choose my own work. But mostly it was just exhausted, working crazy hours and for what? For someone else.
Yeah.
You know?
For me, it was I was sort of doing the things that my passions kind of line up with, but it wasn't quite, and it wasn't what I wanted to do. I was always kind of like restricted, and I know what I'm capable of, and I knew that staying there was not my best course of action.
Yeah, very cool. We sounds like Dad's walking in. Hey, Dad.
We're
filming our podcast.
Hey, Pops.
And now you're in it.
How's it going?
It's a check. I don't need this. Just put it on my mom's desk. That's
your mom's desk?
Yeah.
Love you, Dad. See ya.
Cut. Special guest. How are we doing?
That was a check, though, so winning.
Good job.
Absolutely.
Collecting
cash on the
That's
cash
right.
stocks.
So that's why I quit my job, so I could employ my father and my mother. And that was my reason.
Oh, man. I think the thing that helped me make the decision to start my own business was honestly, it was the drive. It was the drive that did it for me. I got tired of driving an hour each way to and from work because I would get up at 6 a.m., leave my house at 7 a.m., get to work at 8, then waste 9 hours being there, and then spend another hour driving home. And then by the time I got home, it was like 6 o'clock. In the winters, it was already dark. I had no time to do anything that I wanted to do.
False. I recall that this kid used to read books on the drive to work, and not audio books. He would read actual books.
It was at red lights.
Traffic. It's respectable.
It was a long drive.
195. It's pretty busy.
Made some bad decisions in my youth, but I grew out of that.
He put it in park. He put his car in park. I'm sure he did.
He complains
Car
like,
was in park.
I had no time to do things. And then he'd also, like, in the same, like, Christmas, he'd be like, oh, I have no time to do anything. And he'd be like, just finish reading this book. And we're like, how the hell did you find time to read a book? Oh, I read in between stoplights. It's,
Wheels weren't turning, though, so it's okay.
Right.
Wheels weren't turning.
You gotta find those moments to do the things that you want to do. But I got tired of finding those moments. And I decided that I would rather put my maximum effort into something that I actually enjoyed. And that's what got me out of it.
Nice.
That's where I was like, I need to just stop.
So when, because obviously growing up with you, did not know you had the entrepreneurial spirit in you until you were like, oh yeah, no, I'm out. So what was the point that triggered it where you were like, okay, yeah, I've got to get out of this?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's actually really hard to pinpoint. Obviously, it didn't happen until after you moved in, after your whole debacle with the ex.
Yeah, that was good.
So it wasn't until then I kind of saw that you were trying to do things, which we'll obviously get into in later episodes, where you were trying to start your own business in various different ways, and it got me excited. I was like, well, if my brother can do it, then I can do it.
Clearly. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's true, because I'm just better than you at everything else. So, I mean...
Can I just say...
Just because you can backflip.
That means we kind of went in line where Walter inspired
Walter can do it,
you.
I can. If I can do it, you
and
can.
then I did, and then you talked Chris Lang into doing it, and I think Zach was last in that line, so...
Yeah.
Well,
the newest to it.
There's no end to the line, but the
Yeah.
infection or that spark is definitely, and it was triggered by somebody else who gave it to me. So we pass it along to each other, which is pretty cool.
And honestly, that's really the thing that I think is most important about what we do, is that we're showing other people that it doesn't have to be the way that it was for their parents, or for them even for the first however many years it was. Because I was working for somebody else since I was 11, so I'm talking about like 16, 17 years before I finally decided, like, nah, I'm done with this game. Like, I gotta do my own thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was the same.
Oh yeah.
Same for you.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's what's so important about what we do, and I think that is the main reason that we're having this podcast all together, is because we want you guys, you listeners, you viewers, to know that it's not like there's nothing necessarily special about us aside from the fact that we saw what we wanted and we decided we're going to go for it. And as long as you make that decision, then you have those opportunities too, and that's what we really want to kind of promote to you guys, is follow those dreams, do those things that you want to do, because the reality is that you can. It's just a matter of figuring out how, and that's why we're here, to help you figure out how.
I will say that Zach does have magical gifts, so he does have an unfair advantage over your average entrepreneur. So magic on being able to will
we all agree.
things.
Definitely has a way of words.
Yeah.
Definitely has a way with words.
All right, guys, that's enough.
Can we make you blush on camera?
Can we highlight your magical skills?
Really not magic. It's I get inspired by my friends to do cool stuff. So that's everyone's power, right? And that's what we're hoping to give others.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we were talking about it before when we were preparing for this. What gets you to that point? Is it desperation, or is it your calling, or is it a combination of the two?
Yeah.
And for me, it was, I had all these ideas, and I was told by a good friend of mine who's an entrepreneur, hey, you should do these things.
Right.
It was Josh.
Yeah.
And then when I went to my boss at the time with those ideas, it was like shot down, and it like put me in a really bad place, but I still had that spark of inspiration behind it. So I was like, well, something's not plugging in correctly. And it was pretty much the point where I had to like unplug that desperate feeling and just like go full on into that. Like, this is what I'm going to do, because this is what I've been most excited about for X amount of time, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that point.
Well,
But
it makes sense, because my coach says the same thing. There is no just jumping forward with, do you work from pain or do you work from gain, right? A lot of people work from a pain point. I think most of us are responsible. We say, okay, well, when things got so bad, I jumped. But then the other side of it, there is the other side of, man, it would be cool if life was that way. If I could do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. If all the people I worked with were just amazing people. So there's that gain side, right? They say pain or pleasure, but I say pain or gain, right? And that's, you have to have both to make the leap, because if you just jump out of one pain spot, you'll end up in another pain spot. Mm-hmm. But if you have the pain and you jump out of it, but you're going to gain on the other end, like that motivates you and guides you to the right next spot to land in. So there's always that pain, and we talked about that. What was the gain side to making the leap for you?
I think the biggest gain was control of my own time. Again, like the thing, there were so many things. So there was that pain point where it was I didn't have time to do the things that I wanted to do. Obviously, I'm an author on top of running, managing, and instructing at AMP Academy. But I'm also an author, and at that time, it was mostly like looking for time to write because I just didn't have the time for it. So leaving my full-time job to pursue AMP Academy ended up giving me, I thought it would give me more time. At the moment, I'm still in the growth process. But having more time to do the things that I want to do, and then also, rather than sitting at a desk for 9 hours doing engineering work, which is extraordinarily enjoyable to me, except the whole sitting part, now I get to run around, jump, do flips, and teach other people to be awesome. And that is really like the biggest gain point for me. The biggest point of pleasure is helping other people see that they can do things that they never thought they could do. And
that's a gain you get now. You didn't know that was coming. So what was the gain that you saw, like getting like that initial jump? Because like now, as you've been doing it, you get a new gain out of it. You're like, oh man, like I love training people. What was the first one?
It was just time.
Yeah,
it really was. It was just time.
Your time.
I just wanted to have more time to do the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah, because a lot of people they're not gonna be seeing, like, they can't relate to that gain yet because they right now just have a time issue. And I do like, yeah, I'm sure one day I want to help a bunch of people. But that's a luxury you have to think now that you have time. Like now you're like, yeah, I just want to help more people. Most entrepreneurs in the beginning are like, dude, I just gotta get my time back. You know?
Yeah, I think initially it is a more selfish reason that most people end up selfish.
Well,
it's important to take care of yourself first, because how you feel about yourself is how you'll always portray yourself to other people. It's how you'll always respond to other people. So if you're constantly at a point of stress where you're unhappy with your job, then every single person that you interact with is going to feel that in some sense or other. But once you're happy in your life, once you've figured things out and you're doing the things that you enjoy, everybody can take that positivity from you too. And I think that's the major thing, because once you hit that, you're like, oh my God, I can do more. I can help other people. It's not just about me anymore, because I already took care of myself. Like, I got myself out of the situation that I was in. I want to help other people get out of their situation.
Right.
That's the more like addictive part of it, is when whatever your creation is, whatever your passion is, the moment someone gets to interact with it and you see it improve their life, you just want to keep doing that more. Money's cool. Being able to control your destiny is cool, but being able to ignite a positive like chain reaction is like my favorite aspect. And that's something that I didn't even consider being part of the job description when I was going into making a business.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest surprise to any entrepreneur,
yeah,
is that other people are going to look to you, because the thing is, there are so many people in the world that want to do something on their own, so many people that want to start their own business, but there's so much fear behind it. There's so much just being ingrained into you ever since you were young to just go get a good paying job and be happy with that. And it's hard once you get out of that, though. You see it's unexpected things that other people are going to look up to you and be like, wow, this guy did something.
Yeah.
Like, this person did something that I've been afraid to do. I want to be more like that person. So I think that is the biggest shock becoming an entrepreneur, is other people looking to you, and you have to rise to that challenge.
And you get a lot of respect.
Oh yeah,
a ton of respect. All the people I meet, like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I operate, plumbing and HVAC company. Like, wow.
What?
It's always like, wow. And they're like, how old are you? Like, how many guys do you have working for you? And it's like a respect. It's not even people in the field, just people in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good feeling.
Yep.
It's a good feeling, and that inspires you to inspire others. I have guys who are working for me who want to open up their own company. I'm like, dude, go for it. Now, obviously, you're going to leave me. It is what it is. But we can always work something out. But regardless, though, it's just you want to push that onto other people too.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Absolutely, keep the positivity rolling.
K-Dog, what was your pleasure?